Here with me, my guest is here. He's seated in the studio. He looks like he did a marathon from somewhere in Lagos down here this morning. His name is Olumide Kayode Omosebi. He is a lawyer and he's the CEO of Gnosis Health Initiative. Good morning, Olumide. How do you do? Let's begin.
Good morning.
How are you? How was your week?
Fine, thank you. And yours?
How was my week? My week was really good actually, thank God. It's the weekend before my birthday. I said I wasn't going to announce this thing. Anyways, since I've said it now, he's on Monday, August 29th. But how is your family?
Thank you. All good. Thank you.
What inspired you? Are you heading to the gym afterwards? Or are you coming from the gym?
There is a little work today. Today is the gala night of our Singles Meet program.
Wow.
So,
so you have some running around to do before then, after the show.
The event center, the event hall is being prepped up and it will be a very, very grand event.
I can imagine. Next week you come and give us a gist.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, before we get into Q&A, let's hear a little bit of your thoughts and, contributions on the show before we open the phone lines officially.
Yes. Please allow me to take about 10-15 minutes of the time. I want to briefly talk about something that has become frustrating for me over a period of time and is now like on the increase. So I would vent a little, but I would talk. It's called pregnancy. A woman gets pregnant and then the family or herself now sees pregnancy as a call to marriage. Or maybe the family or the parents angrily sends her off to the man who got her pregnant. Now they rush a marriage because it is an abomination to deliver a child out of wedlock. You must marry her. If not, why did you sleep with her? Why did you sleep with him if you know that he is not the man you are going to marry? You have some women even say things like, he must marry me. He has seen my nakedness. That was what a lady told me very early this year, that he saw my nakedness. I want to, first of all, check what pregnancy even means. According to Cambridge English Dictionary, it says having a baby or babies developing inside the womb, that is pregnancy. Dictionary.com says pregnancy is having a child or other offspring developing in the body. Merriam-Webster says containing a developing embryo, fetus, or unborn offspring within the body. Let me see. Any other one? Lexico.com says the condition or period of being pregnant. Macmillan Dictionary says when a woman has a baby developing inside her, full of possible meanings or possibilities. So you can imagine that every definition of pregnancy does not involve marriage. It does not involve the call to marry. It simply means a baby is developing inside the womb of a woman. So therefore, it makes a man, when you look at the definition of a father in the dictionary, it refers to a father as the cause of a pregnancy, which means he donated the sperm for the pregnancy. And you look at the definition of a mother, it means the person who the baby, the embryo, develops in the body, that is a mother. So the father is known as the cause of a pregnancy and the mother is known as the incubator of a pregnancy. Still, it tells you no description of marriage. So pregnancy, ladies and gentlemen, simply means someone is pregnant. It means someone is a father and then someone is a mother. It is a call to being a parent and not to being a husband or wife. It is very amazing that our tradition and our culture, our religion, has made pregnancy a call to marriage. You must marry. Now, I was involved in a case some time ago where a lady was in a long distance relationship with a gentleman. Later, the man, after like 6 months on and off of, internet dating, the man came into the country and the girl was elated. Your boyfriend has arrived. So he came Thursday, Friday, they met for the first time. Took her out, they went clubbing, they went out, and when it was around 12, the lady was like, I have to be going. The man said, going where? That, we just met, that you're not going anywhere, we are going to get to know each other till, it was okay. So they went out, different restaurants and clubs till around 2 a.m. And then the man took her to his hotel. Long and short, when they try to get comfortable, suddenly the guy changes a little and, becomes a little forceful on her. And she's like, we're just meeting for the first time today. Now this one will happen. Let's just... And the guy grabs her and then has his way with her forcefully. She tried to, but, the guy was stronger and he had his way with her, not once, not twice, and eventually around, because she couldn't run anywhere, this was 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, so around 4:35 she gets her stuff and runs out of the hotel, goes home and sends a text message to her closest friend and says, can you believe he raped me? I can't believe he would do that to me. That very morning on her way home, that was the text message he sent. So that was proof that she did not consent to that, but she didn't tell anybody apart from that friend. So she never went back to the guy. The guy called, the guy sent messages to apologize. We saw all those messages, and then a month and a half after, she sees she's pregnant. And then the father and the mother says, who got you pregnant? She was still considering, but some people's body, the pregnancy shows very, very quickly. Yeah, so it was obvious. She began to glow, and so it now became a problem. Who got you pregnant? Then she eventually says the guy's name, and they call the guy, and inform that you got our daughter pregnant and you must marry her. That is how a woman was now forced to marry her rapist.
Did she ever open up to her parents?
She said she didn't want it, but what will their religion say? What will their... No, if you couldn't marry, why did you... the guy too was put under pressure because the family is a big family. It's not a small family. So they could make the guy's life a living hell. The guy... That was how the girl was forced to marry her rapist. Now, the issue is that this has gone public, as in it is now a public, what is a PLC? Public Limited Company? There's a tribe, a notorious tribe in the middle belt of Nigeria where when they see a girl they want, especially the older men, they rape the younger girls. That is by getting them for 1, 2, 3 days, and then when the girl is now pregnant, the family has no choice but to make her marry the elderly man. In fact, 2 were public this year. That some human rights foundations were still fighting because the girl was raped by an elderly man of the community. When she got pregnant, the family took the girl that were still trying to push a case of rape and have the man arrested. Next thing we see that they had wedded in a private traditional marriage. A lot of people have been forced to marry their abusers. You don't even know how the conception happened, whether it was consensual, whether it was by force, whether they were raped. But pregnancy, ladies and gentlemen, especially our parents, it is not a call for marriage. You ruin the lives. Let me tell you something. The children, they did not kill anybody. They did not do any rituals. It is not a crime to get pregnant. You understand? I can understand the disappointment of a father. I was at the state command on Thursday, and a police officer was really happy because the last child was going to graduate. He said he has suffered to send this, and we had that case of pregnancy, and he was like, if after I have suffered as a policeman and my daughter comes home pregnant, that I will go. I said, you arrested? He said, no, I will just knock and thank you. I will hand her over to the man. I said, but you can't do that. It has shown how this has become so deep in society that you think that pregnancy is a call to marriage. And you have some women now, no, he must marry me. He saw my nakedness. I looked at that woman. I said, woman, you came to this world naked. What do you know how many people have seen your nakedness? He said, no, I said, so what is the economic value of this nakedness you are talking about? Did you not see his own nakedness? Said, no, he must marry. He has seen my nakedness. Oh, she forced. Anyway, they didn't really marry, but she moved in with him, and after 4 years, the whole compound saw her nakedness. The man will beat her and strip her naked. It was just one man that saw that nakedness. Do you understand? It was such an abusive union because the man did not want, the woman did not want. Do you know how it is when you lay down next to a person, you wake up in the morning looking at the person laying next to you, knowing in your mind that if not for this pregnancy, I wouldn't have married this person for the rest of your life? That is the greatest torture you can ever inflict on anybody, knowing that I don't want this, but because of the pregnancy, we have to stop this madness. We are ruining the lives. Let me tell you what I have been going through this year. People that got married because of pregnancy. It never ends well. There is a man that you are with, there's a person that you love, which is this. They are two different people. This was a mistake. It is not a mistake. There are times of passion. Some people were drunk, some people were at a party, some people, it was just a one-time thing. And then you have family members saying, if you did not want to marry her, why did you sleep with? If she gets pregnant, ladies and gentlemen, scold the girl. Scold your daughter. But don't let, because of that one mistake, you now ruin her entire life. She spends an entire lifetime paying for one mistake. Meanwhile, you, their parent, have even done worse. Are you telling me that, whoever the thief is the person that was caught? Everybody is stealing something. You want to tell me that if God were to bless every woman you touch with pregnancy, do you know how many women would have been pregnant for you, dear father, dear mother? That because of this one pregnancy, you want to ruin the life of a child by forcing her into marriage. There's another funny twist to this religious thing, that they now quickly force them to marry before the child is born. Do you want to tell me that God does not know the time that child was conceived? Who do you want to deceive? Are you trying to deceive God? Is it that God did not know that you people conceived that child outside wedlock? You're not trying to patch a matrimony and come before God and say, okay, at least we were married before we gave to you. Who are you deceiving? That is the height of hypocrisy. God is looking at you and wondering, okay, so you got married. Does that change the date of conception? Stop mocking yourself. Stop mocking the church. Stop mocking religion and tradition. This has got to change. It is not a crime to be a single parent. You made a mistake. You've learned from them. It is not a crime. Stop forcing children to marry because of a pregnancy. Yes, I can't even imagine. I have one daughter. That daughter is she's my eye. She knows that. So can you imagine, she's in her 20s. If she comes to me pregnant, do you know how heartbroken I would be? But that will not mean that I will now force her. When you don't even ask them, do you want to marry this person? What was this? Was it a mistake? You guys just had fun? Or is this the person you want to? You don't even ask them. You just push them. Please let this thing stop. Pregnancy is not a call to marriage. It is a call to being a parent, a father or a mother. So let them be responsible. Okay, you will now get married. The man now does not provide for the wife and the child. So of what use was the pregnancy of the marriage when he is not a provider? Being a father is responsibility. Being a mother is responsibility. You force some women, then the woman dumps the child with the man, disappears. Or the woman dumps the child and starts having affairs outside because she never wanted to get married to this person. The second variation to this, are those in abusive marriages and getting pregnant. They are beating you, you are complaining it's abuse, you are getting pregnant. First child, second child, you are saying you're in an abusive marriage, you are still getting pregnant. And then you will come to someone like me. Do you know this is my frustration? This is where I am going to in my main address of this topic. How is it that you are in an abusive marriage and the reward for your abuse is to get pregnant? You have people that now come to an office such as mine, please, because the man suddenly takes 4 children, knowing that you are no longer interested in the marriage, or knowing that the abuse has gotten so much, and they say no, he just takes the children. You now come to me and say, please, you want to recover children. I say, how many? 3, 4, 5? What are you doing reproducing? There's someone who is, the child is barely 1. She can no longer see with her left eye because of the slaps on the left eye. It has ruptured an artery. But you keep reproducing in abuse. When you are in an abusive relationship or marriage, the first thing you do is to stop giving birth. There are 2 reasons. Number 1, when any animal on earth wants to give birth, the first thing they do is to build a nest. A fox would dig a hole. A bird would build a nest. Every animal, the lizards, would dig the ground. What ground is a human being preparing to bring a child into? A house that it is beating. No animal gives birth in conflict. Do you know that animals naturally abort their young when the environment is not conducive for birth?
They abort
their young. Because even animals don't want to give birth in conflict, in a place where it's unsafe for the children. But you, being battered and beaten, the next thing, you get pregnant. Then you say you want to leave, but you are pregnant again. You cannot leave, because where do you want to go to with a pregnancy? And that is the tool that an abuser uses to keep the abuse. Now, there is this phenomenon I call abusive marriages. That is those that are in abusive marriages and keep reproducing. The husband is complaining that the wife is abusive. She fights all the time. She embarrasses him outside, but now she's pregnant again. The woman says the husband beats her, but then she's pregnant again. You see, pregnancies have been a weapon from time immemorial to tie down a man and a woman. They just, you want to leave, then you get pregnant again, because the person, knowing that you want to leave, now intensifies sexual activities with, they use all kinds of concoctions to make sure that they get you pregnant. And then when you are pregnant, then people start telling you can't go, because of the children, you must stay. Then you start seeing people 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a lady, 8 children, and you are being beaten every time, and you keep giving birth, reproducing in the abuse. Does that even make sense?
It's children.
Yes. You find out that people in normal marriages, peaceful homes, 1, 2. You that your house is under fire, toxic, fighting every time, 4, 5, 6. Is the reward for abuse pregnancy? Is the way to express abuse more pregnancy? Women, stop giving birth in. Go and get that thing. What do you put under your arm? Or
different
get contraceptives. Stop getting. If you cannot stop him because he is violent when he wants to, he must have it, then protect yourself from getting pregnant. At the end of the day, this is what always happens. You might be the one that would eventually take care of all these children that it's better to live.
If you're alive to take care.
If you're alive, that is even if you're alive. I can mention all kinds of names, but everybody, it seems Osinachi is the only factor now that everybody understands. You have 4 children there. The mother is dead, the father is in prison. Who is taking care of the children? I was involved in the matter when the sister was telling us, the twin sister, that nobody can, they are barely making it on their own. Then you add 4 children, and please help us donate to what? more abuse, more children. It does not make sense. Stop giving birth. Once you're in an abusive, you get married, you know, there are some men that don't even drop money. A lady came to my office, she has 4 kids. The man drops 1.5 for feeding, and then comes back to expect to eat from the 1.5 again for 4 children.
Even when the economy wasn't as bad as it is, that is still not.
You don't understand.
Feasible.
You don't understand. The man was not providing for you in the first place. You now bring another child when he has not even fed the first child that he gave. You had for him. He has not even finished feeding that one. You give him another one, then you give him another one, then you give him another one. When the children are hungry, is there any sense in that? Anyone that is in an abusive marriage, firstly, just stop giving birth. First step, stop. You know what happens? Studies have conclusively proven, if you go to the World Health Organization, it is on their page on domestic violence and abuse. Abusive men are men who have witnessed their mothers being beaten by their father, an intimate partner, or a family member. Those men, you see, abuse is generational. You are not born abusive, you are raised abusive, and then it becomes a part of you. So what you do by giving birth to more children in abuse is to raise potential abusers in the future. The same thing you are suffering now is what another woman will suffer when they marry your own son, and then you will be running up and down remembering what you suffered, because that is what you had just been preparing these children for. Stop bringing abusive children for us to contend with in future. Please, these 2 points, you know, I am no longer the better part of this year, Onyinye, we have been recovering children. Please, they come to me, and I don't collect money. I don't collect money. So somebody gave me my number. Sir, please, he took the children. I can't go without my children. He drove me out of the house. I can't. So, the law is that you cannot, the mother is, in cases of separation or whatever, the mother is the primary caregiver. You cannot take children from their mother without a court order. You must be able to prove that she's incompetent, she's incapable, either by mental illness or her lifestyle. Maybe she indulges in a prostitute, or her transactions are such that can endanger the life of the children. You need to show that the environment she's raising the children in are environments that will damage these children and make them unproductive adults. You need to show the court that, and then the court will order. So as a man, you cannot just take children from, it is illegal, it amounts to kidnapping. As I am talking, I want you to learn from me. I was also a single father. Do you understand? I dated a lady for 3.5 months. It was very abusive. I'm 10 years older than she was. She would slap me, tell my. So after I said, what? How long do you? I would retaliate. Do you understand? You raise your hands on me one more time, then she will come in the house. She slap me at the bus stop. Then she'll come and apologize in the house. Where there's nobody. I will say, let's go back to the bus stop where everybody saw you. So all this secret apology and public disgrace. I just broke off the relationship. 5 months later, she comes to me and says she's pregnant, and I'm like, sharp, who is the guy? She says it's me.
My goodness.
I'm like, 5 months, you didn't know you were pregnant? She said she didn't know she saw her period, but that's not even it. My parents are asking who got me pregnant, so you have to come to, because where I come from, we must marry. So in the space of 2 minutes, I'm being told that I am a potential father and I'm also a potential husband. I said, well, no problem. I said, I have to bring my family, because I said, it was just a lot to process. 5 months of not seeing somebody by Bluetooth, I didn't understand. I said, okay, we'll see who the father is. I had paid, doctors were on strike at that time. I registered for her for antenatal, and eventually when she delivered, it was even my friend that I had to beg, because doctors were on strike. I had to come to the hospital, delivered her, and when I saw the child, I had already paid for the paternity test. When I saw the child, there was no need for paternity test. The way like MK or Abiola's children, that you see the ear, you just know that it is
so vomited this
it
one.
was as if I vomited. There was no. And they were like, okay, I have to marry. And I said, no. Then my mother came, you have to marry as Christians. I said, no. because I don't want to be. Do you know how this girl slaps me and beats me up? And no, I can't. And my family said, no, you have to. As a Christian, what kind of Christian are you? Yes, we fall, we rise. But the fact is, we don't stay permanently down. And they took her, got her a job. You are the one we know. And the girl started, this went on for about 5, 6 years, 7 years. And, they were pampering, they were doing that. The girl became so arrogant even to me. And, I just cut off from my family. I was determined because I knew that I would kill this girl. Because she was beating and one day I would beat back. Then, eventually, I met my wife. I got married. I didn't invite anybody because they've chosen their own wives. And I got married by myself. I didn't call anybody from my father's house, it was just my friends. Eventually, when my mom heard that, I was she came with some pastors and, attend from MFM and all that. They prayed, please at least let your mother attend. I said no. Eventually, I agreed. But only her. The rest did not know. And it was a grand wedding. It was just friends. Friends, no family. They chose their own bride, let me live. Because it was my decision. Years after, when my mother now got to know my wife, you know what my mother told me? She said, I thank God you did not listen to me. Can you imagine that? I thank God he was in Yoruba. She was thanking God that I did not listen to her to marry the other lady. I have my peace. Look at what I'm doing. Yeah, the fact that I had a child outside does not mean that God has casted me or thrown me out or, I have killed somebody. Let it not be the end of my life. Do you know that if I was in that marriage, do you think I would be here talking to you today when somebody would have broken into the station and said, oh yeah, time up, go back home? Pregnancy is not a curse. It happened. God will forgive them. They didn't kill anybody. They didn't do any rituals. Stop forcing people into marriage with pregnancy.